The sky was not supposed to bleed, but above the sacred world of Zelfar, blood-red streaks covered the heavens. The divine were falling giants of gold and light, beings of peace and wisdom for thousands of years, now crashing to the ground. In silence, the galaxy watched from a distance, and the Drevelax Empire cheered. They called it a victory. "We have slain the gods," they declared. Their generals stood tall on the ruins of temples. Their warships floated proudly above burning cities. Worlds that once prayed now stayed silent, too afraid to whisper the names of the divine. On a small human colony named Edenine, something was different. Seen. Edenine, outskirts of human territory. The colony was quiet, a mining outpost. No weapons, no soldiers. Just workers, farmers, and old Earth traditions. Reyna Holt stood on the edge of a cliff, looking up at the dark sky. Her hands were dirty, her boots were torn, but her eyes were sharp. She saw the flash before the scanners did. A golden trail. A fireball. Something falling crashing toward the surface. The ground shook. But not like a normal impact. It was soft, controlled. Reyna grabbed her rifle and ran. Crash site. 10 minutes later. She expected wreckage, flames, dead bodies. Instead, she found a child no older than 6. Curled up in a glowing orb, skin like marble, eyes closed. Floating inches above the ground, she aimed her rifle. The child opened his eyes, and every screen on the colony, every every display, every system went black. Then a single word appeared on every screen, written in ancient divine symbols. Soon. Scene shift. Drevelax Empire. Celebration. In the halls of the Drevelax capital, leaders laughed. They drank. They replayed footage of the divine ships exploding again. And again, one commander slammed his glass down and shouted, "If gods bleed, then they were never gods." Others cheered. They showed trophies, pieces of golden armor, broken staffs, melted crowns, but none of them noticed the transmission leak. None of them saw the single unknown signal bouncing across space. That one word: soon. Seen. Reyna's home. That night, the child slept, glowing faintly. Reyna watched him. She didn't believe in gods. Never had. Earth had stopped worshipping centuries ago. But something about this boy felt ancient. He didn't speak. He didn't eat. But when she touched his hand, her head filled with vision cities. Burning, stars exploding, a voice crying out across the void. "We only protected. Why did they hate us?" Reyna didn't sleep that night. She sat beside him, gun ready, mind racing. And somewhere, deep in her bones, she understood. This wasn't a rescue. This was the beginning of something far more dangerous. Final scene. The boy wakes again. At sunrise, the boy opened his eyes again. This time, they were not blue. They were burning white. He looked at Reyna, spoke for the first time. His voice echoed across every speaker on Edenine. They made war on peace. Now wrath will answer. The boy didn't blink. Rayna had seen children cry, panic, scream even, laugh in madness, but this one only stared, always calm, always quiet. Too quiet for someone who had fallen from the stars. He sat on a metal table in the colony's underground lab. No straps held him, no walls kept him in. But no one dared go near. Dr. Elric, the colony's top xenobiologist, whispered, "His cells don't match anything in known databases. Not human, not alien, not even carbon-based." Reyna crossed her arms. "What does that mean?" Elric looked pale. "It means he shouldn't exist." Colony Council meeting. The air buzzed with fear. Inside the dusty old command room, colony leaders shouted over each other. "Hide him! Call Earth! Send him away!" Reyna stood quietly waiting. Then she raised her voice. "If we contact anyone, the Drevelax will find us. They're hunting him. Don't pretend they aren't." An elder councilwoman snapped. "Then what do we do? Let him grow?" Reyna didn't blink. "We don't let him do anything. We watch. He chose us." Now we see why. The room fell silent. The boy speaks again. 3 nights passed. The boy hadn't spoken since he arrived. Reyna stayed close, sleeping outside his room. That night she felt it. A low hum in the air, like the planet itself was breathing. The boy sat up and whispered, "I remember ... Reyna opened her eyes. He continued, "Not my name, but stars, fire, screams." Reyna moved closer. "What are you?" He looked at her. "Not a god, not a child. I am the last answer." He starts to change. At first, it was small. He grew taller, his voice deeper, his skin faintly glowing under light. But within a week, he looked 12. Machines shut down when he walked past. Birds flew away. Lights flickered. He walked like someone much older, stronger. And then came the stone. He picked up a rock, walked to the wall, and started writing names. Dozens of names. No one knew them, not even in the database. Until the next day. Galactic reports came in. All those names belonged to Drevelax officers. All had died. Same day. Same time. No wounds. No cause. Just gone. Reyna asks him that evening. Reyna stepped into his room. "How did you know their names?" He didn't look up. They touched what they did not understand. Now it remembers them. Reyna swallowed. "You're not doing this alone, are you?" He shook his head. "No, the divine are gone. But wrath lingers." It needed a vessel. Then he looked up at her. And a guide. Reyna's chest tightened. She wasn't a priest. She wasn't chosen, but now she was something more. The first message. A strange energy surged through the colony. Communications failed. Power flickered. Then, suddenly, on the far side of the galaxy, inside the Drevelax command center, a burning message appeared. Not sent, etched, carved into their metal war table, without fire or tools. It read, "You lit the fire. Now burn with it." The Drevelax never accepted fear. They ruled by force. When someone disobeyed, they sent ships. When someone ran, they hunted. When someone hid something powerful, they destroyed the planet. That was their way. And now they had found ETA 9, opening the warning signal. Reyna sat alone in the watchtower when the alert came. Red light. Loud siren. No message. Just coordinates. A fleet was coming. 17 ships. Heavy-class war carriers. No diplomats. No warnings. They weren't coming to talk. Reyna stood up and whispered, "They're here for him." Scene. The boys calm. Reyna ran back to the underground chamber. The boy stood near the window, watching the sky. He didn't flinch. Didn't move. Reyna grabbed his shoulder. "We need to hide you." He looked at her. His voice was calm. "You can't hide the storm from the wind." "What are you talking about?" she asked. He placed a hand on her chest. "They'll attack." "They must. Let them." Scene. Colony panic. The colony scrambled. Ships were fueled. Civilians rushed toward bunkers. Old weapons were reactivated. But Reyna knew nothing they had would matter. The Drevelax ships entered orbit within minutes. Massive. Silent. Deadly. One voice rang through the speakers. "This is High Warlord Karvik. Surrender the anomaly, or perish." Reyna didn't answer. She turned to the boy. "Do you need help?" He gave a soft smile. "Just your eyes. Don't look away." Scene. First strike. The Drevelax didn't wait long. They fired. 7 blasts each. Strong enough to break a mountain. Hit the colony. But they didn't explode. They stopped mid-air. Frozen. Floating. Then turned around. The ships that fired were struck by their own blasts, ripped open like paper. No flames, just silence. The remaining 10 ships pulled back. Warlord Karvik growled, "Activate ground units. I want the child's head." Scene. The invasion begins. Drevelax ground troops landed fast. Elite commandos, jet black armor, pulse rifles. No mercy. They moved like shadows. Over 200 soldiers marched toward the colony center. Reyna stood alone at the gate. She didn't raise a gun. She just looked up and waited. Behind her, the boy stepped forward. His eyes glowed. Scene. One look was enough. The first squad aimed at him. He didn't move. They fired. The bullets never reached. The air around the boy shimmered like glass. Then one by one, the soldiers dropped their weapons. Not by force, by fear. They screamed. Some fell to their knees. Others clawed at their helmets as if trying to pull something out of their minds. Warlord Karvik, watching from orbit, shouted, "What is happening down there?" The only answer was static. And then a single word. Whispered. Broadcast across all channels. Wrath. Scene. Karvik's last decision. Karvik panicked. He shouted, "Destroy the entire colony. I don't care if it's a divine child or something worse. We burn it now." His crew hesitated. Then one of them looked at him, eyes wide, trembling. "Sir, we're receiving internal data. Our ships are shutting down." Karvik turned. His view of the colony showed the boy standing still, looking up right at him. Final scene. Silence from orbit. Every Drevelax ship in orbit lost power. Engines offline. Shields down. Life support blinking red. One by one, the ships drifted into each other. Metal cracking. Systems failing. No explosions. Just quiet collapse. In the colony below, Reyna stood beside the boy. She asked one question. "Are you going to kill them all?" He didn't answer, but in the sky above, no Drevelax ships remained. The galaxy heard nothing for 3 days. The Drevelax fleet had gone silent. No signals. No messages. No survivors. At first, people thought it was a technical error. Then rumors spread. And then came the truth. The wrath had begun. Opening scene. The broadcast. A strange transmission spread across 12 sectors. No voice. No sound. Just a vision. A boy, glowing with white fire, standing next to a human woman. Ships burned in the sky above him. Soldiers knelt before him. Some cried. Some turned to dust. At the bottom of the screen, one sentence appeared in every language. "This is only the beginning." Galactic governments panicked. Old enemies made peace. Borders closed. Fleets pulled back. And every time someone whispered the name Reyna Holt, they looked over their shoulder. Scene. Reyna and the boy travel. Reyna stood in a stolen Drevelax ship. She didn't want to leave the colony, but the boy said they had to. The galaxy must see, he told her, what they created, what they ended. Reyna didn't fully understand, but something inside her had changed too. She didn't feel fear anymore, not since that day the ships fell. Not since the boy looked into the sky and made it bleed. Now she felt like part of something bigger. Not a god, not a hero, just a blade. A guide. A shadow behind the light. Scene. First strike against a Drevelax outpost. Their first target was a small Drevelax base on the edge of Sector Zal-4. Population, 3,000. Military strength, medium. They didn't attack. They arrived. Walked through the gates. Guards raised weapons, then froze. Not by choice. By fear. Some dropped to the floor, unconscious. Some stared at the boy, whispering names only they should know. Reyna stepped forward and said one sentence. "You declared war on peace. Now face its echo." The base disappeared. No explosion. No sound. It was simply gone. Only ash remained. And one golden feather floating where the command tower once stood. Scene. Fear spreads. Over the next 10 days, 7 Drevelax outposts vanished. Each time, the same pattern. No weapons fired. No ships lost. Just the presence of the child. And Rayna. She spoke few words, but every word burned into memory. Balance returns. Your gods didn't die. You killed mercy. You forgot humility. Now remember silence. Entire fleets refused to leave their hangars. Warlords ordered retreats. Prisoners began confessing things no one asked. They weren't afraid of the child. They were afraid of her. Why did he obey a human? What power could command the last divine? Scene. The boy grows again. On their 7th day in deep space, the boy collapsed. Reyna caught him. His body shook. His skin flickered between light and shadow. She thought he was dying, but he was transforming. He stood up slowly. Now a young adult. 15, maybe 16. His voice was deeper. His eyes held stars. Reyna asked, "Are you all right?" He smiled faintly. "I'm becoming what I was meant to be." "And what's that?" she asked. He answered, "The end of their beginning." Scene. A message to all. That night, the boy sat on the ship floor. Eyes closed. Reyna watched from the corner. Suddenly, every screen lit up. Across every known system, every planet, every moon. The boy's voice echoed across the stars. "We came in peace. We offered wisdom. You answered with war. Now your empires will learn that even gods have limits. And even humans can carry justice." Final scene. They name her. A small planet in Sector 92 was the last to fall. They didn't resist. When Reyna arrived with the boy, they opened their gates. The leader of the planet walked out, fell to his knees and said, "We do not fear the divine. We fear the one who walks beside him." From that day forward, the galaxy gave her a name, Reyna the Judge. The Drevelax Empire had lost too much, too many ships, too many commanders, too much fear, and worst of all, too much silence. No one dared speak of the child openly, but everyone whispered about the human, Reyna Holt, a soldier with no gods, no rank, and no army, yet the most dangerous woman alive. So the Drevelax made one last move. They gathered their 5 strongest warlords. Each one had destroyed planets, crushed rebellions, killed kings. They had never lost a battle, until now. Opening scene. The warlords gather. The 5 warlords met inside the Drevelax core fortress. Black armor, red scars, eyes that had seen too much war. Warlord Juron growled, "This is not a god, it's a machine, a weapon. The human is the key." Warlord Trask snarled, "Then we take her, break her, and the child will fall." They launched together, 5 ships, 5 armies. Their goal was not to fight. It was to erase her from existence. Scene. Reyna feels the storm coming. Reyna stood on an old ship bridge. The boy sat nearby, eyes closed, floating slightly off the floor. She whispered, "They're coming." He opened his eyes. "I know." She turned to him. "Will you stop them?" He replied, "I won't need to. You will." She frowned. "I'm not like you." "No," he said softly. "You're stronger. You choose to be human and still stand." Scene. Arrival of the warlords. They came fast. 5 ships burst into the system. Planets trembled. Clouds vanished. They didn't ask questions. They fired. Reyna's ship was hit by a direct energy beam. Nothing remained, or so they thought. Scene. The ambush fails. Suddenly from behind them, Reyna appeared. Alone. No ship. No weapon floating in the vacuum of space. Her eyes glowing faint blue. The warlord stared in disbelief. "She has no suit," one shouted. "No signal. No shield." Another screamed. Yet she was breathing, standing. And watching. The boy's voice echoed through their minds, without sound. "You see her body, but you cannot see her soul. That is your weakness." Scene. Warlord Juron attacks. Juron charged first. His ship locked onto her. Blasted all weapons. She didn't move. Every missile stopped mid-flight, then turned back. Juron's ship exploded, taking half his fleet with it. The other warlords panicked. Warlord Trask roared, "She's controlling the divine. She's possessed." Reyna finally spoke. "No, he follows me by choice. That's what terrifies you." Scene: the collapse of giants. One by one, the warlords tried. Each used a new weapon, ancient blades. Tech forbidden by the council. War creatures from dark worlds. But none of it mattered. Reyna didn't raise a weapon. She didn't touch them. She just walked out and their knees buckled. One fell, screaming. His mind collapsing. One begged for mercy before his ship tore itself apart. The last. Warlord Trask looked into her eyes and saw every life he had ever taken. He dropped his sword and whispered, "We were wrong." Then vanished into light. Scene: aftermath. Reyna stood on the shattered moon. Alone. The boy appeared beside her. He asked, "Do you feel anger?" She shook her head. "No, just silence." He looked at the stars. The galaxy is watching. And now they believe. Reyna said, "Not in me, not in the divine, but in something else. In justice," he finished. Final scene: the message left behind in the ruins of the Drevelax command. A single phrase appeared carved into the steel floor without tools. Or fire. She didn't conquer you. She reminded you who you are. The galaxy didn't forget that message, because for the first time in history, warlords begged for mercy. From a human. After the warlords fell, silence spread. The Drevelax leaders gathered in fear. They sent emissaries, diplomats, and soldiers to Reyna's location. Their ships arrived slowly, cautiously. No weapons, no threats. Only words. Opening scene: the arrival of the emissaries. Reyna stood in the ruins of an old space station. The Drevelax envoys entered. Heads bowed. Their leader, General Korvik, spoke first. "We come to ask forgiveness for what we have done." Reyna's eyes narrowed. "Forgiveness? You burned entire planets, killed the divine. What makes you think you deserve mercy?" Korvik's voice was low, sincere. "We were wrong. We were blinded by pride. We offer peace and loyalty." Scene: Reyna's silence. Reyna said nothing. The boy stood beside her, quiet. Korvik continued, "We wish to rebuild, to learn, to stop the cycle of blood." Reyna finally spoke, voice cold. "Did you say sorry before you killed the children?" Korvik's face tightened. "No." Scene: the weight of the past. The emissaries lowered their heads. Reyna looked at the boy. He whispered, "Wrath is patient. Mercy is earned." The galaxy watched this meeting live. Many were surprised. Some hoped, but most waited. Scene: the boys. Warning: that night, the boy glowed brighter. He said to Reyna, "Their words are new, but the pain is old." Reyna nodded. She looked at the stars. "They think they can erase what happened." He smiled faintly. "We will show them the truth." Scene: the return of destruction. Within days, planets once controlled by the Drevelax began to crumble. Natural disasters, strange storms, sudden blackouts. Ships disappeared. Soldiers fled. The galaxy whispered a single word: wrath. Final scene: a silent threat. Reyna stood before the stars. She didn't need to speak. The boy's glowing eyes told the story. The galaxy had been warned. The true wrath was only beginning. The galaxy was no longer the same since the divine fell. Fear had ruled. Since the child rose. Hope had returned, but only for a few. For others, only terror remained. The Drevelax had begged. They had kneeled. They had offered gold, planets, even their throne. But Reyna said no. Because she remembered every cry, every flame, every child who never got to speak. And now, the boy was changing again, this time forever. A quiet ship in a broken sky. Reyna stood inside a small Drevelax cruiser, looking out the wide window. Stars twinkled ahead, but the sky wasn't calm. It was breaking. Tears of light split the void like cracks in glass. Beside her, the boy hovered in silence. He no longer walked. His body no longer cast a shadow. He was part light, part flame, and part memory. "Is it time?" Reyna asked. He opened his eyes. Yes. His voice sounded like 1,000 voices. Echoes of the divine who once protected the stars. What will happen? She asked again. The same thing that happened to us, he said. But now ... it happens in reverse. The gate opens above the galaxy's core. A massive golden sphere cracked open in space. The ancient gate of the divine. Locked since there. Fall that no one had dared go near it for hundreds of years. But now it opened itself, and from it came no ships. No army. Only energy. Pure, blinding, golden light. It touched no planets, harmed no stars, but everyone felt it. Every species dropped to silence. Every machine stopped for 3 seconds. Every Drevelax War survivor felt cold inside. They knew what it meant. Heaven was awake again, and it was angry. Boy's final change on the ship. Reyna watched the boy closely. His body no longer looked like a boy. He looked 18 now. His hair floated like it was underwater. His skin glowed like moonlight. Symbols from dead languages danced across his chest and arms. And when he opened his mouth, stars flickered. I remember my name, he whispered. Reyna stepped closer. Tell me. He looked at her and smiled. Names don't matter when the batter. Sky breaks. What matters is choice. Then he reached for her hand. You made the right one. You chose to stand when no one else did. That's why this isn't just my wrath. Reyna's heart beat faster. It's ours. They appeared again. Drevelax High Command sent out their last weapon. They had nothing left to use, except fear itself. They activated the Heaven Piercer, a forbidden weapon buried on a secret station called Cromer 9. It had never been tested. It used the blood of captured divine, drained over centuries. When they fired it, the blast tore through space straight at the gate. The golden light shimmered and shattered. But what came next was not silence. It was a scream, not from the boy. Not from Reyna, from space itself. Every planet nearby lost gravity for 1 second. Every star dimmed. And in the center of it all, the gate cracked wide open like a god tearing off its chains. The divine return. They didn't come with armies. They didn't come with sound. They came with memory. Dozens of glowing beings walked from the gate. Not alive. Not dead. Echoes. Each one was a fragment of the divine who were destroyed. Their faces were made of light. Their words were made of time. And they came to one person only. Reyna Holt. The meeting above the stars. Reyna stepped out onto the ship's surface. No suit. No shield. Just her breath and the boy beside her. The divine fragments floated around her. One by one, they spoke not with mouths, but with voices inside her soul. You held our final flame. You walked beside the last hope. You did not ask for power, and so power chose you. Reyna closed her eyes. I didn't want revenge. I only wanted truth. The divine answered together. Then speak it now. She raised her head. This galaxy feared gods, but gods only wanted peace. You gave them peace. They gave you death. Now give them balance. The wrath unleashed. The boy opened his arms. His body vanished in light. His soul stretched across the stars. And then it began. Not war. Correction. Every planet the Drevelax had enslaved was set free. Chains broke. Weapons rusted. Ships stopped working. Every leader who gave orders to kill, their voices vanished. Not death. Silence. The Drevelax Empire didn't burn. It unraveled. Piece by piece. Like it had never existed. The Drevelax. Thrawn Arena appeared before the Drevelax. Emperor. He sat in his dark palace, shaking. Alone. No guards. No fleet. He looked up at her and tried to speak. She raised a hand. No more words. He dropped to his knees. I didn't know. She stepped closer. You knew. You all knew, he cried. What are you going to do? Reyna turned to the stars outside his window. Nothing. That's the punishment. He looked confused. No death? She looked back. No memory. And with that he was forgotten. By the galaxy. By his people. By time. The boy returns, the boy, now pure light, returned to Reyna on a quiet moon. His body faded in and out, like he was between worlds. She touched his face. "You did it," he nodded. Slowly, "We did it," she whispered. "What happens now?" He looked at the stars. "The gate stays open. Others may try again. Others may forget." Reyna clenched her fists. "That I'll remind them." He smiled. "You were never just a guide." She looked confused. He continued, "You are now the Guardian." The new name across the galaxy. People no longer feared Earth. They respected it. They told stories of a human who didn't raise a sword, but ended an empire. Children, in faraway systems, drew pictures of a woman standing beside a being of light. And they gave her a name not spoken in fear, but in honor, Reyna, Breaker of Heaven. The galaxy had changed, not through armies, not through destruction, but because of one human, Reyna Holt. She had no crown, no fleet, no ancient weapon, but she had something stronger, choice. And when the divine vanished, when the stars cried, and when the Drevelax Empire rose in fire, Reyna stood alone. And that was enough. Opening scene. A silent world. A small planet called Jerex 5 was once under Drevelax control. It had no name in old maps, no importance, just sand, rocks, and miners. But now it was peaceful. Children ran through streets. With no fear, lights stayed on, food was shared. Because no one ruled it anymore. It ruled itself. Thanks to one name, Reyna. Seen. Statues across worlds. From one end of the galaxy to the other, statues appeared. Not of gods, not of emperors, but of a human woman, no weapon in hand. No army at her side. Just her face, calm and steady. Beside her always a boy made of light. People lit candles under her feet. Some prayed, not to her, but because of her. Because she reminded them that no one, no matter how small, was truly powerless. Seen. The final walk. Reyna stood on a mountain of the world Verex, once the heart of war. The boy walked beside her, now fully divine again. Not glowing, not blinding, just calm. He asked her, "Do you know what you've become?" She shook her head. "I was a miner, a worker. I didn't even believe in anything." He smiled. "Exactly." She turned to him. "Why me?" He stopped walking. "Because when everyone else ran, you didn't." Seen. A council forms. In Sector 12, leaders from hundreds of worlds gathered. No weapons, no lies. Only one rule, no empire. No throne. They created something new, the Concord. A council of peace. Every race. Every kind. And in the center of the great table, one empty chair remained. It belonged to Reyna, but she never came. Seen. Her last message. A recording appeared across the stars. Reyna's voice, soft, strong. "You don't need me anymore. That's the point. I didn't break the galaxy to rebuild another cage. I broke it to remind you who you are. You can choose war. Or you can choose better." The divine believed in peace. "I believe in you." That was her last message. She was never seen again. Seen. Legends begin. Years passed, then decades. Children asked, did she really stop the warlords with no weapons? Did the divine really follow her? Was she really just human? And the answer was always the same. Yes, yes, and yes. Because Reyna wasn't made of power. She was made of will. Seen. The final battle unseen. In the dark corner of the galaxy, a new danger rose. A machine race from another universe. No heart, no soul, no mercy. They entered from a rift near the edge of known space. They destroyed 5 planets in 3 days, and then they stopped. Why? Because they found a single ship waiting. Old, damaged, but on board stood one woman. No fleet, just her. And when the machine scanned her, They turned around and left, not because of her weapons, but because of her name, Reyna. Scene, the boy tells her story. The divine child, no longer a child, traveled alone now. He visited broken worlds, he healed the weak. He brought balance to places forgotten, and everywhere he went, he told her story. Not of gods, not of magic, but of a woman who didn't move when the sky fell, because one human, only one, was enough. Scene, Earth hears the story. On Earth, people lived normal lives. Most didn't know the whole story, but whispers reached them. Stories of a human woman who stood beside the stars. Books were written. Schools taught her name, not as a warrior, but as a reminder that even the smallest person could stop the end of everything. Scene, the legacy lives on. 100 years later, a girl stood on the same mining colony Reyna came from. Her name was Sierra Holt. She held a small silver badge. It had two symbols, a circle of light, and the letter R. She looked at the sky and whispered, "Where did you go?" And a voice answered in the wind, "Everywhere." Final words, the last page in the stars, in the final history records of the galaxy. One sentence is written, when power forgot mercy, one human reminded them all. No gods returned to rule. No empires rose again, because peace had found a name. Reyna Holt, and only one human, was enough.